Throughout the ages, God has communed with man. The men who were chosen to receive his direct words were called prophets. After centuries of darkness and apostasy from Christ's teachings, God once again chose to reveal himself to mankind. The revelation came in answer to a humble prayer by the 14-year-old boy Joseph Smith in the year 1820 near Palmyra, New York. This is the story of the visitation of God the Father and his Son Jesus Christ to the boy prophet Joseph, as told in his own words.
I'm so glad you came with us.
In my 15th year, there was in the place where we lived an unusual excitement on the subject of religion that became general among all the sects in that region of the country.
We'll have the good pleasure of hearing from one of the finest preachers in the state of New York, Reverend Bailey.
Without any fancy
Indeed, the whole district seemed affected by it, and great multitudes united themselves to the different religious parties, which created no small stir and division amongst the people, some crying low here, and others low there.
Or we were damned. That's all there is to it.
Saved or damned? Without faith, it is impossible to please God, for he is the rewarder of them that diligently seek him.
We're saved by grace, not by works.
But I don't believe one word he said.
But it was straight from the Bible.
He interpreted the Bible. The Bible is not of private interpretation.
So you're interested in religion. Which church do you have in mind to join?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure which is the true church.
Young man, all churches are true, so long as they teach Christ.
But they disagree and contradict each other.
Will you pray with all your power as we try to preach the word? Christ will burn himself and serve us with sweet manna all around. Amen.
Right now is the time for you to declare your faith by baptism as to whose side you are really on. The Lord's or the devil's?
I'm a sinner. I need the Lord.
Brother,
I want to give my soul to Christ.
oh yes.
I believe.
During this time of great excitement, my mind was called up to serious reflection and great uneasiness, considering that all could not be right, and that God could not be the author of so much confusion. I determined to investigate the subject more fully.
One Lord, one faith, and one baptism. One baptism, not three different ways. It says right here, one faith. But why do all the churches differ so much? And if the truth is in the Bible, why do they interpret the same scripture to mean so many different things? And if there's one Lord, and one faith, and one baptism, why are there so many churches?
Hiram, Samuel, look out of the way. Here comes the tree. Look out over there.
So great were the confusion and strife among the different denominations that it was impossible for a person young as I was, and so unacquainted with men and things, to come to any certain conclusion who was right and who was wrong. But though my feelings were deep and often poignant, still I kept myself aloof from all these parties. Though I attended their several meetings as often as occasion would permit. While I was laboring under the extreme difficulties caused by the contests of these parties of religionists, I was one day reading the Epistle of James, 1st chapter and 5th verse.
If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering.
If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. Never did any passage of Scripture come with more power to the heart of man than this did at this time to mine. It seemed to enter with great force into every feeling of my heart. I reflected on it again and again, knowing that if any person needed wisdom from God, I did.
If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. In faith, that's the answer. To ask of God with real faith. And I will. I will.
In accordance with my determination to ask of God, I retired to the woods to make the attempt. It was on the morning of a beautiful, clear day, early in the spring of 1820. After I had retired to the place where I had previously designed to go, having looked around me and finding myself alone, I kneeled down and began to offer up the desires of my heart to God.
Our Father, which art in heaven, please
I had scarcely done so when immediately I was seized upon by some power which entirely overcame me and had such an astonishing influence over me as to bind my tongue so that I could not speak. Thick darkness gathered around me, and it seemed to me for a time as if I were doomed to sudden destruction. At the very moment I was ready to sink into despair and abandon myself to destruction, I saw a pillar of light exactly over my head, which descended gradually until it fell upon me. It no sooner appeared than I found myself delivered from the enemy which held me bound. When the light rested upon me, I saw two personages, whose brightness and glory defy all description, standing above me in the air. One of them spake unto me, calling me by name, and said, pointing to the other, "This is my beloved Son, hear him." No sooner did I get possession of myself than I asked the personages which of all the churches I should join. I was answered that I must join none of them, for they were all wrong, and that none of them was acknowledged of God as his church and kingdom. And I was expressly commanded to go not after them, at the same time receiving a promise that the fullness of the gospel should at some future time be made known unto me. I had actually seen a light, and in the midst of that light, I saw two personages, and they did in reality speak to me. And though I was hated and persecuted for saying that I had seen a vision, yet it was true. I knew it, and I knew that God knew it, and I could not deny it.
Once again, the Lord had parted the heavens and had spoken to Joseph as he had to Adam, Abraham, Moses, Paul, and others. And through his prophet Joseph, through the first vision and the revelations that followed, the gospel and true church of Jesus Christ was restored in its fullness to the earth.